Every memory you have ever trusted was fabricated. Not distorted, not faded, fabricated. Reconstructed from scratch, each time you remembered it. And your brain did this on purpose. The memory you are most certain about right now, the one you would swear to in court, has been rewritten so many times that the original no longer exists. Anywhere. Most people imagine memory like a recording. An event happens, the brain captures it, stores it, plays it back unchanged. That is not how it works. That has never been how it works. Memory is not storage. Memory is reconstruction. When you remember something, your brain does not retrieve a file. It reassembles the memory from fragments of what actually happened, mixed with everything you have believed and experienced since that moment. And as it does that, something in the memory shifts. Small things at first. A detail here, a timeline there, until the version in your head is no longer the thing that happened. The moment you access a memory, your brain makes it unstable, like a document opened for editing. New information gets inserted. Details shift. The brain saves the new version over the old one. The original is gone. What you are carrying around is not the past. It is the most recent, edited draft of the past. You do not just remember the past. You use memory to understand who you are right now. Every decision you make today is filtered through what you believe has happened to you before. Your confidence, your fears, your relationships, your sense of what you deserve. All of it runs on memory, which means it all runs on something that has been quietly edited without you knowing. In 1974, Elizabeth Loftus ran a simple test, and what she found broke the entire legal system. She showed participants footage of a car accident, then asked them a single question, but she changed one word for different groups. One group was asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. The other group was asked how fast they were going when they smashed into each other. One word. That is all she changed. The smashed group estimated speeds nearly 20 miles per hour faster. And when Loftus brought them back a week later, that group also reported seeing broken glass at the scene. There was no broken glass in the video. A single word had inserted a physical object into their memory of something they had watched with their own eyes. She then ran a study that crossed a line most scientists were not willing to cross. She did not just distort memories. She created them from nothing. She gave adult participants a booklet containing 4 childhood memories, supposedly provided by their own parents. 3 were real. 1 was completely fabricated. A detailed account of getting lost in a shopping mall as a child, panicking, and being rescued by a kind, elderly stranger. None of this had ever happened to any of them. By the end of the study, roughly 25% of participants had not only accepted the false memory as real, they had added details to it. They described the color of the stranger's coat, the sounds of the mall, the specific feeling of relief when their parents found them. Their brains had formed a complete memory of an event that had never occurred, and they could not tell it apart from their real ones. This is not a quirk of weak or easily influenced minds. Loftus replicated this finding hundreds of times, across multiple countries, every age group, every background. False memories are not the exception. They are a standard feature of how every human brain works, including yours. But if one person's memory can be rewritten with a single word, what happens when millions of people share the same false one? The Mandela Effect. Named after Nelson Mandela, because millions of people around the world share the same clear memory of him dying in prison in the 1980s. He did not. He was released in 1990, served as president of South Africa, and died in 2013. But the shared false memory has details. People remember the funeral coverage, the news broadcasts, where they were when they heard. The Berenstain Bears, almost universally misremembered as Berenstein with an E. The Monopoly Man, widely remembered as having a monocle he never had. A film called Shazam that was never made, remembered in detail by people who can describe the plot and the actor who starred in it. Millions of people who have never met, sharing the same wrong memory, with no way they could have planned it. Your brain did 2 things. First, it pattern matched. Stein is a more common spelling than stain, so it corrected it automatically and saved the wrong version as fact. Then someone else made the same mistake, and when you heard them say it, you both became more certain. 2 wrong memories that both feel right. The memory feels real precisely because someone else shares the lie. And shared mistakes are not the only way this happens. There is something even more personal going on. Your brain remembered the content but forgot where it came from. It absorbed the information, filed it away, and lost the label. So now the detail feels like your own memory, when it was actually something you heard, or read, or were told years ago. The image became yours. The origin vanished. This happens constantly. You remember a fact you cannot source. You hold a belief you cannot trace back. You carry a version of an event that was shaped, without your knowledge, by every conversation you have ever had about it, which raises a question worth sitting with. If a shared mistake feels more real than a solitary truth, how much of what you believe about your own past was shaped by the people around you, rather than by what actually happened? This is also why memories shift when we talk about them. When you tell a story about your past, you are not reporting it. You are reshaping it in front of the person listening, influenced by their reactions, their questions, the version of you that you want them to see. And then you save that version. The story you have told most often about yourself is probably the one that has drifted furthest from what actually occurred. You know who you are because you remember what you have experienced, your values, your fears, your relationships, your history. But those memories are just the latest drafts. Your brain has been quietly rewriting all of it since the day they were formed. But it gets worse. Your brain does not just edit facts, it edits feelings. When you feel low today, it pulls up painful memories. When you are at peace, it pulls up the good ones. The exact same life can feel like a failure or like something worth having, depending entirely on how you feel right now. You are not reviewing your past. You are filtering it through your present. The version of your past that exists in your head right now is the most recent draft of a document that has been rewritten thousands of times. The original, the actual raw experience, no longer exists anywhere. Think about what that actually means. The reason you believe you are bad at something might trace back to one comment someone made once, years ago. A comment that has been replayed and reshaped so many times, it now feels like a fact about you. The reason you distrust a certain kind of person might come from a single moment that your brain has rewritten until it no longer looks like what actually happened. The reason you think of a part of your life as a failure might just be the mood you were in the last time you looked back at it. Not the truth, just the filter. And this is not just a theory about your personal past. Loftus spent her career studying how confident eyewitnesses get it wrong and testifying about it in court. Over the decades since, DNA evidence has exonerated hundreds of people. Most of them had been identified with absolute certainty by witnesses who completely believed what they were saying. People who had no reason to lie, no motive to deceive, no doubt whatsoever about what they had seen. They were not lying. They were remembering. Accurately. Vividly. Completely. Incorrectly. Loftus described memory as being less like a video camera and more like a Wikipedia page. Anyone with access can edit it, and you have no way of knowing which version you are currently reading. The past is not behind you, locked in place. It is alive in your head, being quietly rewritten as you move through life. Your memories are not the truth of who you are. They are the latest version of who your brain has decided you were. That version shifts as your mood shifts, as new conversations overwrite old ones, as the same story gets told slightly differently one more time. The most intimate record you have of your own existence, the memories that make you who you are, is also the least reliable data source in your entire life. Every memory you have ever trusted completely was assembled by the same system that inserted broken glass into a car accident that never had any.